And girl, for real, your run in Hairspray was truly the best you could do.
Turn your ovens to 450 because it's time for a roast. And not everyone is eating this up. I'm in a room with PopCulture.
And I'm Nick Valdez from Comic Book.
And this is Social Call, where we offer up our unfiltered opinions about RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 9. And let's get to cooking because it's time for a roast. Now, Nick, what did you think about our queens roasting each other and the judges this week? It was kind of all over the place for me.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. Roasts are tough. And, you know, when we get a roast a season, it's very hit or miss.
Kind of hit or mid with this one, I felt like. And I feel like they were like gaslighting us to think that they were funnier than they are.
Yes, like the fact that everyone was saying, oh, everyone did so well, and there was no one who fell flat. And I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, Ru, I see you keep bringing your service animal around here. Don't you bite me, bitch.
Let's just do our tops and our bottoms. Because like I said, there were like plenty of mid people who were like, for me, it was like Chanel. Some good jokes, but like the delivery wasn't maybe there. Or who else? Like Roxy's outer saboteur being Gravity. That was like funny to me. But again, it just like the performance aspect of it that wasn't there for me. So they were kind of mid for me. Did you have any other like mid people that you wanted to talk about, or should we just move on to the best and the worst?
I mean, that kind of like describes Nina too. She spent so long in her set talking about how she's the nice queen that it's like, oh, you didn't have time for jokes? And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're nice if you're not mean. Like, if you don't get to the mean stuff. So there's a lot of setup with no punchline, and that was kind of a Nina's case. It was the same for kind of Vanjie too, but Vanjie, it was mid, but also so kind of bad, but also very fun to like watch it happen.
See, Vanjie landed in the top for me, not necessarily because she had like, I mean, she had a few good jokes in there, like the nobodies was very funny, but like, it's just her delivery of it. She's so charming. She's so paramount. Her bopping her little wig around and going, it's a roast, it's a roast. That was funnier than like half of the jokes we actually got to see be performed.
And that's what it came down to. It came down to who had the best jokes. And so for me, like the tops, you had Plastique Tiara, who once again got to be funny. So I feel like I'm so glad I got to say, hey, Plastique is funny. We just, you know, she just doesn't know it, I guess. And here it was funny. Her jokes were my favorite of the episode, regardless of if we've heard them a million times, whatever. But I don't think the Leah Remini joke has been said before. That really got me.
That's brand new. That one was really good. That one gave me a tee-hee out loud. I felt the same way about Angeria, where she really had some like new material. Like her calling Michelle Ru's service animal and then being like, don't bite me. That was really like simple but hilarious.
1000% agree, and she is another one whose personality carries it even further. So the fact that she had a good joke foundation to begin with, and then just had fun with it, allowed us to have fun with her too. Like it was a fun roast, and that's not. While it wasn't the same, we could say for everyone, it was good. And what did you think of George's though? George's got so much like attention.
Why? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, Mugatu style, because this wasn't a funny set. Like, it wasn't a flop, but it wasn't so funny. And I feel like the judges were just like, again, like gaslighting us into thinking that it was way funnier than it was. I appreciate like Georgia's doing something different with the like straight dude kind of drag of it all, but that premise wasn't taken far enough. And then a lot of the jokes weren't really jokes. They were just kind of like lewd comments. And you know, like I'm no prude. That doesn't like offend me or anything like that. But I just didn't think that like the payoff for them was funny enough. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it was like, it's more so that her character is really getting over rather than the jokes itself, which is fine if they like, and Ru really seemed to like the character. Ru gave Georges a very specific critique of, hey, try a more masculine character. Georges did it this week and was rewarded for it. This week even started with her getting a beautiful benefactress badge out of the mini challenge at random. So like, seeing all of that praise for her on top of this, I really was thinking she was gonna walk out with 2 this week.
Yeah, I was kind of like, you know, we all know the show was produced and stuff like that, but you have to kind of suspend disbelief to enjoy the competition part of it. This episode was tough for me to do that. I feel like I was being pushed in directions that didn't make any sense. And one of those directions was laughing at Georges' jokes. Sorry.
Yes, I 1000% agree. Because then you have like Gottmik, who was like had good jokes, but apparently, like, controversially, there was, like, some hubbub online about how they might not have been her jokes, which is fine. That's not, to me, that's not the worst thing in the world, because, you know, you're drag queens. Like, this isn't what you do. You don't write jokes. That's fine. But it'd be even better if they were funny jokes. Then we'd have something to talk about. But with her, it's just like, well, if she took them, cool. If not, all right.
Well, the funny thing is, it's like, yeah, everyone's like, oh my God, she lifted these jokes directly from the same Nikki Glazer set. You know, Gottmik goes online and is like, well, no one wrote their own jokes, and Nikki's my girl, so I just reworked a few. And you know, yeah, again, some people are really mad online. I get it from both sides.
Yeah.
I don't really care that much. It is really funny, though, that all of this hubbub surrounding that came to nothing. Like, Gottmik didn't do super well, and Nikki Glazer is very funny, so I'm like, even if you rework these jokes, you clearly rework them to be worse than they originally were. So like, I don't know what we're doing here.
At least the runway is kind of made up for a lot of the confusion we had this week. You know, Plastique in that like hot rod bunny outfit fusion thing with her just stark white eyelashes and just the full rabbit fantasy, and I loved it. I was like, oh, how this is why she's here, and this is why they're here every week, is so we get like all these weeks of Plastique looks.
Honestly though, like that's how I feel. Every week it's like in my faves. I'm like, Plastique, Gottmik, and Gottmik looked cool too. Like the one half of the dress, it looked really cool, like the denim and diamonds of it all. But when you said that this eliminated some of the confusion, it increased my confusion. The theme is Atomic Blonde, and no one really seemed, I don't know what anyone was doing. The other people were like post-apocalyptic, like Mad Max, which that's not an aesthetic that appeals to me, so I just didn't like pretty much any of that. And then the other half were like Chromatica. Like, I don't know. And then Nina was dressed as a rocket. So I just really didn't know what we were doing here. Other than Plastique and Gottmik, I really didn't like anyone. And Roxy walking out in that like dead animal on her head, I was about ready to turn off the TV.
I know. I was like, the body's giving as always. Like, Roxy is there for the body, and I love it. I love Roxy. But what was this?
I'm on the dance floor getting down. Hold tight, I never let you down.
What was this lip sync? Because, you know, it's 𝐏𝐸 and Plastique who are our top two for the week, which made sense to me. And they do this lip sync to Be My Lover, and Plastique doesn't know any of the words, and she's not even pretending to know anymore. She's just pointing at 𝐏𝐸 and just walking around the stage. Like, this is why people need to go home. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Yeah. You need some kind of stakes. Like, playing for charity isn't enough. It is not enough anymore. And unfortunately, like, as much as I love the idea, and I love that that's the core of this season, clearly it's just not pushing these queens hard enough. Like, if Plastique
these queens
can
are
really,
not charitable enough.
yes, if Plastique can be in the top two in 2 weeks in a row and then not know the words to the lip sync because, what's the hurry? What's the worry? And it's like, well, you should have some worry. Like,
for real. Like, it's kind of just like annoying to watch. I don't know. I just want them to care, like, 10% more because I really like all the queens. And no one's doing really poorly, but I need a little bit of oomph there.
The Lord hath spoken. All those times they gave you those snippers.
They did.
This is your turn to giveth the snippers away.
Angeria, of course, wins because she knew the words. Also, she did fine. She did a good job. I'm just being salty, but it was funny to watch her kind of take her revenge on Roxy after getting snipped 19 times in a row. So I did think that was funny. There is some stakeage there. I just feel like some people are taking it more seriously than others.
Oh yeah, the whole time, Angeria and Roxy are just gonna snip each other through the rest of this competition.
They're in their own competition. They're not even in All-Stars 9 anymore. This is just a battle royale to the death in the Thunderdome. This season is highs and lows. Y'all know that. But we are hopefully heading for a high next week. Ru is getting into the skits, and I always think that is so funny. Remember the elf ears in the slides?
Oh, 1000%. Ru, I love Ru in these skits.
Well, you know that we are going to be here recapping it next week for you. So make sure you like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below. What'd you think of the roast? What was your favorite joke? Well, until next time, head over to popculture.com. We've got all the entertainment news you could ever possibly need over there. And then we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.